Hello, everyone. Welcome to another special presentation here for Global Astronomy Month. My name is Andrew Fazakis. I'm the Night Sky Guy here for Astronomers Without Borders. Thanks so much for joining me wherever you are around the world. It's April, and if it's April, that means it is Global Astronomy Month, the world's largest celebration of astronomy and the night sky. AWB brings that to you every year in the month of April. And this year we have lots of events scheduled. Tonight we have a special presentation by our national coordinator from Hong Kong, Exodus Sit, who's going to be presenting a very special presentation about diversity in astronomy education. And, before we introduce my speaker, I just wanted to mention, if you haven't yet, you're welcome to give a question. If you have a question for our speaker tonight, please put it into the comment section, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook. We welcome your questions for our speaker tonight. And also, we'd love to hear where you're watching from, wherever you are around the world. We want to hear from you, our community. And of course, because it's Global Astronomy Month, there's a lot of events all month. And I encourage you to check out our events schedule. Here you can see, if you basically go to our Astronomers Without Borders.org website, you can check out our many different things in our official GAM calendar. And also, if you are holding an astronomy event anytime during the month of April, then we encourage you to submit your event, astronomy event, onto the official Global Astronomy Month calendar that you'll find on our website. And there is a chock full of events. It's a jam-packed schedule with lots of events from around the world. Many of them are on-site, actual stargazing events for the public. Others are presentations that are going to be online, live streams from telescopes. There's all kinds of things coming up. Just to give a quick update, for instance, on the 9th, this Saturday, the 9th, there's going to be an international cultural moon observation from Israel and Turkey and Afghanistan, communities coming together and sharing views of the moon. Really part of our global star party, which happens this Saturday. And if you're holding an event this Saturday, there's still time for you to put your event onto our schedule, like this one that will be held in 3 different countries and will be webcast using a Zoom link that's on that page. And you can get all that information on our website. And where do you go? Very simple, folks. You go to Global Astronomy Month website, which is gam-awb.org. That's gam-awb.org, and that's where you'll find that wonderful calendar filled with events, and you can add yours too for free. And so we welcome everyone there to our site, definitely. So without further ado, I want to introduce our special speaker. Today, where the presentation is called ASTROx Special Education, Diversifying Learning in Astronomy Education and Outreach. And our special speaker tonight is Exodus CL Sit, who is a transmedia astronomy educator, popular science author. He's an astromusician, astrophotographer, and a columnist from Hong Kong. He's also AWB's very own national coordinator for Hong Kong, and he is involved in a slew of different things, including dark sky initiatives, and really being in touch with communicating with the public across all media. Let me welcome Exodus to the program. Exodus, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Andrew. Hello, everyone.
Hey, welcome to the program, Exodus. It's so nice of you to join us. Love to hear you. And how are you doing?
Yeah, quite nice. Yeah, it's morning in Hong Kong.
Morning. And what's the weather like where you are?
Probably cloudy. Yes, not
Yeah.
really very good stargazing, but yeah, I really wish if there would be some observational events in Hong Kong at night, it would be better.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're involved in many of the astronomical events in your region, aren't you?
trying to make some adoptive approaches after COVID. Try to explore different approaches to for science communication or to interact with general public about astronomy.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Let me just give a quick shout out to folks that are joining us. Please do post where you're watching from. We'd love to hear where you are located around this beautiful planet Earth, watching us live. We've got Laureen from Alberta, Canada, joining us right now live on this live stream, and we want to hear from you. And of course, if you have any questions for Exodus, please put them into the comment section and we'll try to address them in this program. Now, without further ado, Exodus, would love to hear your presentation. So why don't, I'm gonna hand this over to you and your presentation. Here we go. And I'll let you take the mic.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. So, hello everyone. I'm Exodus from Hong Kong. Today, I would like to share some experience about astronomy on special education. So, we try to motivate general public, also including with students with special education needs to different approaches. For example, in multiple intelligence or diversifying learning to explore to arouse their interest on learning science and astronomy. So to begin with astronomy, as we all know that astronomy is actually an interdisciplinary science that in the natural science discipline, it could integrate with different subjects or discipline. For example, we could integrate with cultural knowledge, for example, history, arts, or some inspirational studies or science communications. We can also integrate with technology, for example, engineering, space engineering, computer science, optical observation, telescope making. More than that, in our general teaching, for example, we could integrate with science, not only mathematics, biology, chemistry, or physics. We could also explore different possibilities about astronomy in our daily life. So to begin with, the special education needs, generally there will be three main types of students or children or target audience. For example, ADHD, attention deficits, autism spectrum disorder, ASD, and also the developmental dyslexia. So there are three main types of special education needs, and we try to build a connections with astronomy. For example, experiential learning. We could build some hands-on experience to motivate our target audience to engage, to learn by making or learning by surface learning. And besides that, we think about diversifying learning to explore different possibilities. How could we promote different, provide different types of learning mode in order to ensure that our target audience could learn science through different methods? And finally, which is the multiple intelligence, we try to explore different strengths or talents for our target audience in order to let them to become science communicator or to motivate them to be amateur astronomer in future. So there are three main types. I will simplify the three main types of it. For example, dark sky protections is all about sustainability, all about our future, our night sky. Another one would be stargazing and astrophotography, which is more closely related to the observational astronomy. And the final one would be astrophysics and cosmology, which is more theory-based learning, which is more advanced for students if they are really interested to explore astronomy or to conduct research in their future career path. So I will simply share some learning progress for special education needs. ADHD as a case in point about their executive skills. For example, they're trying to build up working memory. For example, how could we effectively share science or popular science to them to translate, to transit the knowledge to them more effectively. For example, we try to simplify all the content or how we arouse their interest in order to let them learn the content or arouse their curiosity of exploring astronomy, or how could we draw their attention with sustainability to how to maintain their sustained attention on learning science or keep on interacting with other people. So we really have to understand all the factors about the escape behavior. How could we motivate their intentions, the incentives of learning? For example, we have to know what the cause of the behaviors or the consequence of behavior. More than that, I've summarized with 4C, which is related to the conversation, consistency, communication, and choice without option. So we really have to be consistently to have that passion to interact with them, to find out whether there'll be some strength, whether they will be good at something, good at speaking, good at talking, good at data analysis, or good at some discipline, to try to find out whether what is their interest in for the special education. So it's really important to build relationship with them, especially to let them to follow your instructions to gain trust. For example, we could provide some simple guidance to arouse their curiosity of learning science or astronomy. I think it's really encouraging that, for especially for stargazing or astrophotography, which is really uh, interesting for them, really excited. Especially they could have some experience for some stargazing camp. They see the night sky, they see the Milky Way in naked eye, or they make use of the telescope. Some student might be really talented if they could try to handle to operate telescope by themselves, or they could even using some 3D technology to build some prototype, 3D printing or some technology to support on advanced technology on telescope making or some astronomy studies. It's really important to find out whether they will be interested in some parts of astronomy. So I would like to share a simple sentence. When you are looking at the night sky, it allows you to escape, to calm down, to relax. I think it's really a great moment, especially if we are really busy in our daily work. We can have some time to relax ourselves at stargazing. I know there are a lot of busy stuff in our daily life, but I think through mindfulness or through stargazing, it could provide you with a really precious opportunity for yourself to make some adjustment, to relax yourself, to have some self-talk or some peer communications with other students, or to have some great moment for people to talk to each other, to share what they are thinking, to share their experience, their stories. I think it's a really great time for gathering under the light sky. So I thank you for the astronomy, I think, because it always taught me how to overcome my fear to the dark. Because I think stargazing is actually an adventure for yourself to explore something new. For example, if you are trying to take some pictures of some astronomical objects, every moment is actually yourself is having some improvement to explore something new, to take a greater picture, or trying to explore something really interesting or really great to share with your friends. I think it's really great to build personal self-confidence, and also I think it's also a precious moment for people to build up their self-reinforcement through peer sharing or sharing with other even experts, recognized by some experts on their photography, or it's a really great moment for night sky observation. So I'll simply share with two projects I'm trying to explore about diversity on astronomy to provide inclusive learning on science communication. So the first one is actually the multiple intelligence on astronomy. So uh, I tried to explore different angles for students or our target audience with special educational needs. So we try to find out whether they will be interested in something, or whether they will be uh, good at something. So, for example, some will be good at logic, good at nature, good at photo taking, good at music performance, or something. So everyone is unique. I always believe that everyone is unique. Everyone have their abilities to explore their own interests. So I think astronomy could be a really great opportunity or a platform to allow them to explore through interdisciplinary approaches. So, so the first one will be related to linguistic and verbal intelligence. I think it's really important for, especially for science communication, how could we interact with other people, or some students are really good at public speaking, or really good at integrating some concepts to simplify it, to talk to other people effectively with their personal storytelling skills, or some personal sharing about the experience, about their interactions to other general public, some gesture, some eye contact approaches. So it's really important. Some might be talents on simplifying all this complicated concept, especially astronomy. There are a lot of different knowledge, a lot of different theories and calculations. So how could you visualize it to the general public to make it from abstract theory into some interesting or friendly facts? So it's really great if we could explore or motivating people with special education needs, students with special education needs, to integrate their knowledge into some actions or some service or some interactions with more people. They might be really encouraging that they could share their ideas with others through different methods, or it might be a really great starting point for them to interacting with strangers, if interacting with people who might not be really familiar with astronomy, but in this moment they become experts. So it's really encouraging. So another one would be related to logical and mathematical intelligence, which is related to some theory-based learning. So for example, some student might be really great at mathematical calculation of physics, or some logical approaches. So we motivate them to read some books about astrophysics, or even some advanced knowledge. So through these approaches and implementation through digital astrophotography, so they could take some pictures, try out some setting up some telescopes, some tripods, or some tools about astronomy. So they could explore different digital platforms or forums to share the astro photos, or to share their experience with other people, or even experts. They could learn by data analysis. So it's a great moment if students are really interested about data analysis. So the third one would be a visual and spatial intelligence, which is, we always talk about the beauty of night sky. So I think observation of nature is really inspiring our daily life, especially for design thinking. So in daily life, if you try to design something, or you try to draw some pictures, it's actually based on your natural observation. So many of our daily invention or daily ideas or concept is actually, some of that might be inspired by our nature or animals or some features. So I think it's really great for students or general public or target audience to get some inspiration or to get some new insights from nature or from night sky. So more than that, it's really great for them to identify seasonal constellations. So it's really great to help them to build up some imaginations of our really beautiful to build up some connections about constellations. It's not simple, so not simply remember their names, but it's really great to have some I would say some memorizing or some imagination about our night sky. So more than that, some image processing is trying to make some memory. So it's really simply just make some documentary, or to take some pictures to share with other people about what they have learned. So it's actually a cycle for observation and taking pictures and sharing with other people. I think it's really great for them to have some self feedbacks or some peer evaluations. So more than that is more closely related to some kinesthetic intelligence. So especially for some stargazing camp and sidewalk astronomy. So there will be a lot of natural exploration. So you could have some chances to go to some rural areas or national parks to have some backpack or some camping about night sky. So it's really great for students to go outdoors, outside classroom, or to leave their comfort zone to explore something really new in nature. There will be a lot of really great knowledge that you might not be able to acquire in your daily learning. So follow with it, which is related to musical intelligence. So actually, there are some pieces I would like to share. We generally call it as universal music in Renaissance. So, for example, the Harmony of the World, which is composed by famous astronomer Kepler, which inspired him to finish his third law, his Kepler's third law. So he's actually integrating different knowledge or disciplines. For example, mathematics, geometry in mathematics, some musical melodies, and some astronomical observations about the orbital periods of different planets. Actually, he discovered the consonants of the planet's orbital periods in to regenerate it from mathematical calculation, mathematical ratio into music. So it would be really great. I think it's really great moment or methods to interact with general public or to reframe it in something new. So some people are trying to compose some new piece, for example, music of the sphere, which is actually some we call it science arts, based on theoretical physics or theoretical calculations, change it from abstract idea into some visualized idea music, which is many people might be interested, or some musicians or artists who might be interested in music. So we could gather more people to engage in our astronomy research or outreach. So to follow with it, we talk about interpersonal intelligence. So we talk about science communications, public education with storytelling. So it's really great for SEN students or our target audience to have some chances to share their stories, to have some interactions, to promote popular science and night sky protections, or amateur astronomers, or to try to interact with some experts. Excuse me. So okay, so it's followed by the interpersonal intelligence. So we always talk about the multiple sensory experience. So learning by making to encourage our target audience to engage in some hands-on experience, which is really important to find their true self. For example, to know whether they like it, which part of astronomy, or whether they like something about science, or they like something about arts, or something about engineering. I think it's a really great moment for them to explore their own interests. And through the mindfulness in stargazing is also really great moment for them for some psychological exploration, or some peer gathering, or some peer talk to have some sharings under night sky. So the final one would be related to the nature exploration. So we're always aware of the sustainabilities inspired by the United Nations 17 sustainability goals. Is actually a really great guidance or references for us to explore. Especially there will be a lot of what we call the global citizen or citizen science projects about astronomy or science communication. So we could motivate our target audience to become dark sky advocates, to share their ideas, to share their awareness of light pollutions to the general public, to more people. I think it's really encouraging to motivate more people to engage in it. So another project would be about the diversifying learning. So it's I think it's much different from the multiple intelligence. Multiple intelligence tries to explore different abilities or different talents about through astronomy to explore different possibilities. In other way, diversifying learning is more would be related to educators. So how could we teach our general public? How could we motivate them to learn? So it's another project which is more familiarized with educator or astronomy, amateur astronomers or science communicator, which is trying to think of learner-centered approach. So we really wish to motivate our target audience to be self-direct learners or to be a wildlife learner. It's not only astronomy or trying to explore different discipline inspired by astronomy. So typically there are four different learning modes: visual learning, read and write learning, auditory learning, and kinephinestic learning. So there are four different types of it. And I will share it simply with some experience and some story about it. So self-direct learning is actually about visual learning. For example, visual learning, we always talk about astronomical observation. We see the night sky. We see the phases of the lunar photography. We can see the sidewalk astronomy. We can interact with other people through night sky, stargazing with constellations, to guide them with lasers, to let more people to know more about the constellation using cell phone, your star map, or even a rover hunting. Is really, there are different beauty of night sky that we could have some interaction with people through visual learning mode. So another one would be reading and writing. So we talk about there are a lot of different, I would say, citizen scientist projects. So it's really great to interact with people, especially after COVID situation, that we could try to make use of some STEAM online platform to ensure that our target audience could have some chances to learn through online. So there are different projects, for example, data analysis on astrophysics, or some editing and translations duties that they could engage in. For example, IAU, there's some translation network. There are some task guide projects. For example, Astronomer Without Borders, there are different online media and workshops that we could have some interactions to ensure that our target audience to have different types of engagement, to have some interactions with people from different regions, different countries without borders. So I think all are really great for them, especially for some people who are really familiarized with language, to share the science communication. So it's really great to share through online, for example, YouTube or Facebook channel, some vlog channels, or some online sharing forums or speaking talks. So more than that, we talk about the auditorial learning. So it's more likely to be applied in science communication. For example, we could make astro music. We could compose some astro music. For example, I've composed some pieces of astro music about planets. For example, Mars, Jupiter's, and Saturn, and it's actually inspired by the atmospheric phenomenon of the features we can see in these planets, or some space missions about this planet. So I've integrated with using in music expansions to have some interactions with the general public. So I think it's really encouraging to try to share astronomy, or try to interact with general public in new approaches, or exploring new ways to make astronomy more with more new possibilities. I think besides traditional talk sharing, or storytelling, or photography, we could try to explore something new. So, for example, some team in some other countries have started some interactive music composition. So they try to use the data collect by the data from NASA, some NASA space mission, and then they try to regenerate it into some interactive music or sonatas. It's really great that they could inspire people to hear the actual sound, or actual voice of the planets connected by the spacecraft. So I think it's really interesting that we could try to interact with general public, or even artists. For example, space arts is really great for people to visualize some pictures or some features that we are not able to see in naked eye. For example, some planets which is far from our solar system that we are not able to see it. Some exoplanet, I would say exoplanet, that we might not be able to see it, or there may not be a really clear photography to show the features, but we could try to cooperate with space artists that they could, based on the data, based on NASA data or some research, and they try to draw some pictures based on the actual or predicted situation of that planet. So they based on the features, their atmospheric data, and all this information to make the planet more real or more visualized to the general public for sharing, to interacting with more people. So I think it's really encouraging that we explore different methods to visualize astronomy. So to follow by the kinesthetic learning, so it's actually based on some experiential learning. So learning by doing is really great moment to gain your personal experience, or to have a really great, to build a really great memory and boundary with our target audience. For example, I think especially for science communicator, every time when we teach or when we try to share our ideas with other people, they will always having some feedbacks or evaluations for us that really it's really great for us to have some improvement or to have some reinforcement. I think teaching is one of the teaching is one of the really great moment for yourself to have some self personal learning, because when you teach someone, you can explore that some discipline or some field of studies might be interesting for some general public, and then you might go in depth to explore more, to check out some news or some greatest research, and to have some updated information. So I think it's really great for science communicator if you try to explore something new, or you try to have some interactions with, especially intergeneration or intercultural exchange through online or the platform, to have some interactions. So especially for experiential learning, so we could have some hands-on workshops to make some models, 3D models, or to make some hands-on DIY experience for our target audience to engage, to learn science, telescope making and operation. So it's really great for more people would be available to use telescope to supporting your future solar astronomy or observational events. More than that, we could use some paper model to build up some prototype, or to allow our target audience to share the stories. For example, it's just simple drawing. We could give them a white paper, and they could draw some imaginative scene. For example, we talk about the our future travel to Mars, for man travel to Mars, manner travel to Mars. So we could invite them to have some imagination about our future. If we live in the moon, or live in the Mars, what would happen? What difficulties we might face, or any issues that might not be any issues that could be solved by technology, or if there are any danger situation that we might face in our future if we live in other planets. So there will be different possibilities for I think paper model prototyping, especially for students or general public to think out of the box, to think about our future, or think about our past, to learn lessons from our history, or to learn some lessons from our interaction. So, and then they could try out some social innovative project, which is closely related to solving some issues that might happen in our society. How could they supporting our precious need? For example, in Hong Kong, we are facing with light pollution issues. So how could we motivate more people to engage in the advocacy, or engaging in science communication, or promoting popular science to more people, to raise the awareness of the night sky protections, to raise awareness of the issues in urban light pollutions, or interacting with more people to engage in some transmedia approaches on astronomy. So there will be different possibilities if you try to launch some social innovative project or citizen scientist project. So and it's really encouraging that we could have some new insights to through some showcase or online interaction. So really wish to explore different possibilities about astronomy. So yeah, and this is my sharing about the multiple intelligence and diversifying learning about astronomy. We try to explore different possibilities for educators or for our students or our target audience in order to provide inclusive astronomy education for more and more people to engage in science communications and learning about popular science. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Fantastic stuff there, Exodus. Wow. It's very impressive, all the different aspects that you're bringing in there. And, it makes me think, it's amazing the time that we live in that we have access to so many different tools in terms of being able to, create these educational opportunities. Um, in your experience, and I see in your presentation, I saw some slides where you're in front of audience, you're engaged with a lot of young kids, young children. Um, how do you find that? How do you use the new modern kind of digital tools and things? How the I pre- I would guess children really gravitate towards a lot of digital technology, don't they?
So actually, there are some, I would say, citizen scientist project we could engage in through online. For example, some app in our mobile is actually supporting with some citizen scientist project. For example, Globe at Night is actually a citizen scientist project allowing student or general public to engage to make some documentation, to make some records about the actual situation in their places, whether they could see some constellation, see some stars in their regions. So I think it might be a good chances for them to have a first impression about astronomy. So it might not be really complicated, including different theories or some different astrophysics stuff. But I think one great starting point is how could we arouse their interest? For example, learning by singing. I think singing is a really great moment for general public to memorize the content. Singing is always, I think it's really always amazing that people could memorize the lyrics. So we could apply some science knowledge or some theories into lyrics, just simple lyrics, and they could memorize the constellations or memorize something about astronomy. I think it might be a good starting point because they usually like to share songs or to share their stories through social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I think they could spread it out to more people to be aware of it. It might be a funny wearing funny costumes or trying something really
Yeah.
funny to build some image for general public in
Oh my
online.
gosh, I'm thinking Exodus, wouldn't it be a crazy idea if like a pop culture singer, a pop singer would have some kind of astronomical song. I mean, it would definitely bring a lot of people in, definitely. Yeah, maybe somebody's listening, I don't know, some big name singer it would mean a difference. I agree. I mean, songs are music generally is something that people really connect to, and it's cross-cultural, cross-border, all ages, right? Go for that. And I guess you brought in techniques for children. What have you found in your experience that children really gravitate toward, that really get excited about? What techniques do you find that children, particularly, are young children? Because I guess young man. I mean, I've worked with 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds in kindergarten, nursery school, and they love to wear like costumes of the planet costumes, and play or how the planets move in the solar system. They like to pretend. at a very young age. But what in your experience have children really connect to?
I think there are 2 points of it. The first one with futurism, to let students to think of the future. For example, once they are living in other planets, what they might face. I think they're really interested, especially for students in elementary education. For example, they might be interested about uh, the daily lifestyle about astronauts in space station, or they are living in space. What would they do? How could they take a bath? How could they drink water? How could they do something that is really simple with gravity in our Earth? So it might be really great for them to think out of the box, to think of different possibilities. What if our living environment might not have a vacuum or might not have gravity? So another point would be related to some observational astronomy, especially they could see some planets, for example, Saturn and Jupiter, through the telescope. So I think many of them might be really excited that this is the first impression for them to take pictures of Saturn ring and the Jupiter's the wet spot of Jupiter's, and really encouraging that they could use their cell phone to take pictures through the telescope. And it might be a really good starting point. Maybe future they will try to explore more in astronomy by their own telescope. So I think yeah, this is the two different angles or different races that we could motivate students to explore
Yeah,
of
and
astronomy.
what I mean, oh, before we just go on here, a little comment from Laureen. Laureen says, great information, Exodus. Lots of avenues to enhance teaching moments. That's
Thank
from
you.
Laureen. And she also says, great tips. We're holding a dark sky evening, hoping to inspire some local children to learn more about astronomy. So there you go. I mean, that's interesting, because I'm just thinking here, a lot of people I think who are in the AWB community around the world, and Astronomers Without Borders is in 143 countries. We've got over 12,000 members across those countries. And a lot of those members are active in creating public events, star parties. Um, what do you say to amateur astronomers that are trying to engage the general public within a star party environment where there are maybe many telescopes on a field, and maybe they have a small observatory, um, and then you have families that come there, right? So you have people of all ages coming to there. What kind of techniques are you're finding that would lead to success for them, possibly?
So I think audience-centered approach. So we have to think about what audience, or based on to think about what we have to share based on our target audience. It's really specific because traditionally we teach astronomy or we share astronomy. It's all about theories or about some complicated calculation of astronomy, some information about the constellation or these kind of objects. But I think general public might not be really familiarized, or they might not be able to memorize it because it's really complicated for them, for beginners. So I think for family or from general public, we could start by some simple sharing. For example, we share all the equipment, how you use the telescope, whether there will be some unique function about telescope. So they could have some basic understanding, because many general public may have some a misconception about astronomy. For example, the usage of telescope, or whether there will be buying a new telescope for beginners. So they're joining this camp, and they will buy a telescope immediately without more knowledge acquired. So I think it's really important to have some clarifying of misconception. For example, it's more important for learning about astronomy before buying telescope, because for many general public, some people might think that are buying sophisticated equipment might have a really great abilities to take some pictures of some great astronomical object like NASA picture, Hubble picture, but it's all about your personal experience. I think for beginners, it's really great for them to have some information, for example, funny fact about the planets, or they could use their cell phone to have some basic understanding about the constellation or the story behind the myth behind the constellation. I think it would draw their attention about the unique part of astronomy, which is related to our culture, related to our nature, related to our daily life. So it's really important to build connections about astronomy to our daily life.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, Exodus. Exactly. I think it's making those connections with a person to person, right? To making those connections and being able to do storytelling. Storytelling is very powerful, and I think with astronomy, I think you're absolutely right. There's a lot of, I think what we call awe and wonder. A lot of wonder, and awe that people are like amazed at some of the things in the sky, right? These, how far away a planet is, or how big a star can be, or a galaxy far away. These are really incredible concepts that amaze people, but it's also hard for people, I think, to really understand, like relate to. So I think storytelling, like you're saying, there's a lot of cultural connections too, to lean on that when you're at the telescope, you're out in a star party, and you have the public at your telescope, is to be able to tell some of the cultural stories. I think is really important. I mean, I don't know what I mean. I'm located in Canada, in Eastern Canada, in Montreal, and you're located in Asia, in Hong Kong, and we're separated by this vast gulf of space between us geographically, but yet we share the same sky. We see the same moon. We see the same sun. When you look at the sun through a filter, you see sunspots. You see the constellations. We share the same sky. So the application of what you're talking about here, Exodus, I think can be brought across the world. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter where you are. It's not really fixed to any one geographical region or any specific culture or religion, is it?
Yeah, I think it's cross culture and cross disciplines
Yeah,
and continent.
definitely. And the continent. Yeah. And you know what? That's what speaks to AWB's motto, which is one people, one sky, right? So Exodus,
Strongly agree with that.
so tell us, we're gonna before we go, for today, tell us what you're up to. What are you involved in right now? What are you looking forward in doing? What's in the plans for Exodus in the coming future?
So currently, I'm still working on some citizen scientist project about dark sky protection approach, collaborating with international dark sky associations and in some local NGO, for example, UNESCO Hong Kong, or some organizations. I think it's really important because usually for astronomers, sometimes they might be overlook the importance of dark sky protection because uh, we see the night sky for sci-fi astronomy. We could provide some really great observation about planets or some stars, but some more in-depth, some more underlying problems about night sky or some nature that affected by the dust, affected by the light pollution is really important. That affecting our general observations, affecting our daily life health, energy rays, and our beautiful features. So I think in future I'm still engaging in some probably projects for astronomy and arts, STEAM plus A project, which is integrating arts and music through astronomy approaches to promote the dark sky. I think probably composing some new piece of music or trying to collaborating with some astrophotographers or some experts to have some interactions to to spread out the ideas about dark sky protections. I think it's really important
That's
in current
fantastic.
moment.
That's absolutely fantastic. Great stuff there, Exodus. We've got your website on underneath here. People can visit you on your website. We also have it in the comment section, so people can directly click on it and check your work out. All the many things you've written, books, you've written musical compositions, and you're educating children, people of all ages. It is really fantastic stuff, Exodus. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, if people are interested in seeing more of what Exodus is involved in, he puts out his own personal blog on AWB's website. We encourage people to do check us out at astronomerswithoutborders.org. Become a member. It's free, or you can become a paid member and a contributing member and support us financially. All the proceeds go into all the good work that AWB does around the world. And Exodus is part of that community, the global community that is AWB. And you can check out all the wonderful things. I saw just before I let you go, Exodus, I saw your musical presentation that you had and you put into your blog. There's a link to his work on it's fantastic stuff, really innovative things that are being, weaving culture and astronomy together in new ways. It's fantastic stuff, Exodus.
Thank you, Andrew, and everyone for joining this sharing section.
I wish you all the best, and I see all the other folks out there are saying the great presentation. Thank you very much, Exodus, and take care. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andrew.
And folks, if you're interested in finding out more about Global Astronomy Month, this is the website for you to join. It's gam-awb.org. It's as simple as that. You log on to that website, you'll be able to see all our interesting things that we have in our calendar. It takes you straight to the calendar right here. This is what you'd see. All the goodies, that stuff that is happening and upcoming. Just a little tip, next big event that we have is this Saturday. You just use Zoom. There's a link here for Zoom, and it's an international cultural moon observation event from Israel and Turkey, with the Afghanistani community involved as well. It's a multi-language event. It's very unique. And it's very much what AWB is about in terms of transcending borders around the world. I highly encourage people to check that out. I'll be on there as well, joining in on the fun, looking at the moon through telescopes from across the world. What more interesting thing can you think of to spend a Saturday day or afternoon or morning or wherever you are around the world, spending a little time with your fellow sky watchers around the world? It does not get any better than that. So with that, I want to wish all of you a wonderful day, morning, or evening, wherever you are. Don't forget to log on to our website, check all our things that we're doing for Global Astronomy Month. It's the largest astronomy and night sky festival in the world annually. This is the 13th edition. You don't want to miss out. So make sure you log in and find out what the next events are and join in on the fun. With that, I'm Andrew Fazakis, the Night Sky Guy, your host for Astronomers Without Borders, wishing you all clear skies. Bye-bye.
From the pale blue dot to the distant stars, we are one. One people, one sky.